Hello and welcome to lesson number 11, where you'll learn about JavaScript events. And actually JavaScript events is a bit improper because the events are happening on the HTML side. All you can do in JavaScript is listen to these events and react accordingly. Now, an event can be something triggered either by the browser, like for example when the page has finished loading, the browser triggers an event, or when an image has finished downloading from the server, then the browser triggers another event. Or they can be something triggered by the user, like for example when you click a button. Now, the list of events is like a mile long, and we're not going to go through all of them. Instead, we're just going to pick 4, which are probably the ones that you're going to be using the most, and I'm going to show you how to listen to these events and how to react to them. And there are 2 ways you can listen to them, either in HTML inline or in JavaScript with add event listener. Now, the test page I have here is very simple. We have a paragraph in a container and a button. And of course, clicking this button does nothing for now. But what you can do is say onClick, and you can execute some JavaScript code. So, for example, you can say something like console log button clicked. So now when I click the button, I get a console log. So that was a piece of JavaScript that you just executed. This is the simplest way to tie into an event like click, for example. There are other events, for example, like onLoad, onMouse over, onKey up. These are just a few examples. Now, let me show you how to listen to these events from JavaScript or using JavaScript code. So in my scripts file here, I'm going to declare some variables first. Submit btn, it's going to be document, get element by ID, submit, and then I'm going to target the container equals document. I'm just going to say query selector container. Now, I'm going to get the submit button, and I'm going to use the function add event listener. It looks like this, add event listener. We're going to pass in the name of the event that we want to listen to. In our case, it's click. And then we're going to specify what happens when that event is being triggered. We can pass in a function name, or we can declare an anonymous function here. So we're going to say function, we're going to pass in the event parameter, and then we're going to say console log, hey, I've been clicked. I'm just going to escape this character right there. Okay, so now if I click this, we get 2 different console logs. One is from the onClick in the HTML, and the second one is from the add event listener from JavaScript. Now let's see an example of another event, for example, mouse enter. And let's say that when I enter with my mouse cursor in the container area, I want to do something, do a console log, anything. So I'm going to say container add event listener. We're going to pass in the event name, in our case it's mouse enter, and the function name or the function that we want to execute. In my case, I'm going to say mouse enter container. Now this is a function that I'm going to create right now. So function mouse enter container, it does not receive any parameters, but instead it does a console log that says, hey, there was a mouse enter event triggered. So now whenever I take my cursor and I enter the boundaries of my container element, I get that console log. You can see by the number here, we already have 10 logs. But let's say that I want to do this just once, right? So do the console log just the first time the event is triggered. Well, to do that, I can simply do the console log and then remove the event listener. So I can say container remove event listener mouse enter and then the name of the function. So the syntax is exactly the same as add event listener, but we change the name of the function here. So now I enter the boundaries of the container, I get the console log, but I only get it once. All right, let me show you another example real quick for the event key up. Right, so we're going to say document add event listener key up function event. Now this is a great way to show you what that event is doing. I'm doing a console log event key code. Now event is an object that's being transmitted to this function, and you can access various properties for that object, such as key code, which is the code of the key you just pressed. So for example, if I start typing, you'll see that we get various codes. If I do an enter, we get the code 13. If I do escape, I get 27. So this is a really great way to listen for key presses. To give you an example of what you'll be using this for, or what you could be using it for, you make a slider, an image slider, and you would use the right and left arrow keys. You can see their codes pop up just right there, 39 and 37, to switch slides, right, to move between slides. So that's one use for them. But yeah, basically that's about it for JavaScript events. Now, you've learned the basics of JavaScript, so it's time to put this knowledge to good use by creating some demos for some of the most common coding patterns in JavaScript. And we'll begin in the next lesson with a back to top button. See you there.